Okay, so there's a lot happening right now. Something that I can do is give some general tips and tricks that helped me to understand my initial awakening experiences. When I initially began to awaken, everything was surfacing. Everything that I had been sat on, that I had pushed down or suppressed within myself. And a lot of people have suppressed how they truly feel or their authenticity because of the fear-based programming that society operates within to create the situations that we find ourselves in, with the gaps in society being the expansion more so than the expansion into the consciousness of who we are and what we are. And it can be a very scary process when the fabric of what we thought was real or reality is beginning to be questioned, because what the spiritual awakening is the awakening to the metaphysical components that your physical body picks up on. And I'll help explain this the best way that I can that help to comprehend that metaphysical. The difference between the physical eyes and the third eye is the physical eyes are able to detect the very physical experience. They see from a second-hand point of view. They see what is already there, whereas the mind's eye connects to the metaphysical components or the energetic bodies. It sees from a first-hand point of view. It sees as it's happening before it's happened. So for instance, your thoughts and your emotions. Before you say what you're about to say, you know from your first-hand experience. So we may feel like very solid physical beings, but the ultimate truth, just like the divine paradox, the creator awakens inside his creations. So you being the creation, your physical vessel is a creation that's created out of the material sector, and the non-birthed version of you is the energetic version that is the metaphysical component to your physical body. So the shape of energy within this universe is toroidal. Everything within this universe is within that toroidal motion. So a great visual example of this is the great attractor and the great repeller, which are two seemingly opposing forces that actually just reflect each other by either pushing or pulling away from itself. And it stems out of one 0 point that both of those flow of energies stem out of and come back to. And this is also like expansion and contraction energy within this universe. As we expand, we also contract, and what we are contracting is that which we no longer need to make space for that expansion, and the two happen simultaneously in the now moment. Without expansion, there is no contraction, and without the divine dance of the data interaction between two, then there is no transaction of data to expand or contract with. And the main thing I want to mention with conscious presence to look out for is the fact that the universe works through that electrical signaling. So the electric universe theory, the idea that everything is connected or interlinked between a channel, an open channel, that all stems out of that same source point, the root of that signal. But the vast amount of signaling that creates that data and that data feedback is sometimes what causes confusion between what is resonance and what is resistance. So everything inside our universe is like a bubble of consciousness, but that consciousness feeds back to a state of pure awareness. So when you're connected to the all that is inside that electrical system and you're present to it, then you're also potentially open to manipulation by any frequencies inside that bubble of consciousness as well. So the reason that a lot of spiritual teachings teach about presence energy, like Eckhart Tolle, is because it's the first step to finding the whole vibration of your being. This is how many get trapped into that material sector of learning, by not being able to push the boundaries beyond the known into the unknown, which is the spatial dimension. By being aware of the components of space and time, you're able to balance yourself above it. So awareness is really the applying of the knowledge that you've learned from being present and changing that knowledge into wisdom by utilising the skills that you're learning. So this is the 0 point, and this whole diagram here is actually taken from Nikola Tesla's 369. So conscious presence and conscious awareness balance together like this space and time, so that you're a whole being within the material sector. And when you're a whole being rather than half, in search of whole or seeking, then your perception changes. The 3 dimensions of space and 3 dimensions of time become that one system that is awareness. For instance, the physical energy of the Kundalini connects to the metaphysical chakra system, that is energetic portals made out of the same toroidal motion that the universe is created from. So we are what we perceive, and Nikola Tesla put this perfectly in the quote, "If you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency and vibration. Energy can't be destroyed, it can only be transmuted. So to transmute the shadow of what you're already holding internally, then you need to go into that shadow." When we fill our inner channel with space, instead of the frequencies that can be manipulated or triggered within us that we are just holding on to be released, then we are able to connect to our higher states of being and channel through the information that you need to discern how to tackle the shadows from the vantage point outside of it. Conscious awareness is a state where you connect to your authentic self more so than the collective intelligence of universal consciousness. And the reason the yin-yang sign is so important is because it's a physical representation for everything that is within that 369 theory. Space bends and folds on itself all the time, just like your consciousness does and your awareness does. Your malleability and the flexibility that your awareness has is that fluid or plasma type of energy, and that's why it's constantly changing and it's constantly evolving and it's constantly within a vibration of itself. Comparison is a trait from the mind to understand the difference of expression that is throughout this universe, and that expression just showing up as 2 polarities or 2 complete opposites of a whole. Just as your shadow element, your most negative feelings and emotions are in complete polarity to your most positive feelings and emotions. Think of awareness as being a kind of spaceship. So time is not linear, and the reason that time is not linear is because it's a reciprocal of space. The 3 refers to the material sector, the 6 refers to the cosmic sector, and the 9 refers to that balanced state that connects both back to the source point. Balancing the 3 dimensions of time and understanding that this is the space, 1 dimension of space, and then balancing the 3 dimensions of space and understanding that it's the time that connects those together again as well. And then when you understand both, it's like the butterfly effect. You take the outer understanding of the physical dimension to the inner understanding of the metaphysical dimension, and that's where that 6 channels through. The 3 and the 6, we can almost think of the representation of the physical and metaphysical components that make up the you that is part of this universe or present to this universe and resides inside that toroid emotion or that duality experience. But the ultimate truth to that duality was that it stemmed from the same source point. Our universe operates on those cycles like the perfect triangle that is represented by the 9. And it's only the acceptance of that whole or totality from that toroidal motion that you can accept that the shadow is always only going to be the unknown elements of yourself. So you have the positive, the negative, but also have the negative in the positive and the positive in the negative. And this middle section here is like that 9 points, and the recognition of balance between the two slides that create that opening, like the bends in space. Have you ever seen the theory that you can physically move through time and space by bending the fabric of space? Space bends and folds on itself all the time, just like your consciousness does and your awareness does. So when you're coming from a place beyond conditions and you're connecting to another within that now moment, you're sending information to each other via the same source. So the connection is naturally more strong when you're coming from that state of awareness. Utilize the knowledge that you have and use the duality to find that middle ground. Listen to the words that you're saying, the thoughts you're having, and the emotions that you're feeling, because you're going to be the one to wake yourself up from that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.